8 demanding divas met professional life coach Laura Barron, who gave them some shocking news.
There are no more trust funds, no more credit cards. You're cut off.
In the summer of 2010, VH1 premiered You're Cut Off, a new reality show focused on transforming spoiled rich women into functional members of society. It came at the end of the era of shows like The Simple Life, My Super Sweet 16, and Pretty Wild, which all showed vastly privileged lifestyles far from that of the average viewer. You're Cut Off ran for 2 seasons before being canceled. Each season, 9 spoiled 20-somethings were cut off from their families and sent to an 8-week rehabilitation program with life coach Laura Barron. There, they were supposed to learn lessons in responsibility, money management, and caring for people other than themselves. The girls were lured onto the show by being told that they were auditioning for a reality show called America's Next It Girl, which would be a competition series meant to promote the next batch of socialites. Once the girls arrived for filming, they were in for a rude awakening. The goal of You're Cut Off was to teach the women to be less materialistic and become more independent. The women live in a dorm-like house with no maids, no cleaners, or services. They get assigned household chores at the beginning of each episode. Apparently cleaning gutters is a household chore. And they earn an allowance for each chore completed. The girls can earn up to $200 if they complete all their chores, and money is deducted for each girl who doesn't. The money is then used on the girls' groceries and entertainment for the week, so they have to budget to make it last. Apparently that involves buying a lot of boxed wine and cigarettes. At stake are the girls' inheritances and access to their parents' money. While they're on the show, they have no access to trust funds, money, or assets from their previous life other than the clothes that they brought with them. In each episode, the girls complete a task meant to show them how real people live, whether it's getting a job, learning to shop frugally, or working as a maid. Some of the challenges have celebrity guest judges like Michelle Williams, Perez Hilton, and Omarosa. Those who take the challenges seriously are praised and move to the next step of the boot camp process, while those who aren't open to the challenge risk being permanently cut off by their families because of their inability to change. Helping the girls along the way is my arch nemesis, life coach Laura Barron. You may recognize her from the later seasons of Bad Girls Club.
Because it's disrespectful.
To you.
It is disrespectful
To
for
you.
one woman. Red.
To you.
It is disrespectful.
To you.
It is. First of all, it's disrespectful in general.
To you.
Check out my video on that. Laura's purpose on the show is to evaluate the girls' performance each week, as well as motivate them to change and teach them techniques to become more responsible. She also openly criticizes the girls who don't and tries to remind them of what is at risk if they can't turn their attitudes around. At the end of each episode, the girl who does the best on the challenge is named the VIP, or Very Improved Princess. She gets a room all to herself and gets to budget the grocery money and assign the chores for the following week. At the end of the program, those who show they have changed get to graduate and regain access to their family's finances with a more responsible change mindset and normally some sort of inspiration to become more independent. Those who do not change remain permanently cut off. Season 1 kicks off with the girls being dragged by their family members by how lazy and ill-prepared for the real world they are. They find out that their families have decided to send them to a program to correct their selfish and materialistic ways. They have life coach Laura to guide them through this transformation, which includes budgeting, working, camping, and learning lessons in selflessness and sacrifice. The girls initially have a hard time adjusting to life outside of the lap of luxury, but most graduate the program and leave with valuable life lessons that they claim they will carry forward. The season featured Erica Rose as one of the cast members. At the time, she was an up-and-coming socialite who was making her rounds on the reality TV circuit. She had previously been a contestant on The Bachelor and was known for her Paris Hilton-like persona. Erica says she was happy with her experience on the show overall, but the show left out important details like the fact that she was in law school while on the show, and the show made it seem like she was doing nothing with her life at the time. Erica Rose currently works as a practicing attorney and has made appearances on Married to Medicine, another reality TV show. Season 2 brought more of the same, with a new set of spoiled girls being pressured to change for the better. Life coach Laura also reprised her role as a firm but sometimes well-meaning mentor for the girls. In one episode, the girls are taken to a country club and run up a massive tab and have to work off their debts. In a lot of the episodes, the girls are set up to fail in this way to make good TV. It's kind of like inviting an alcoholic to a bar and then asking him not to take a drink, if you ask me. The girls do very similar challenges to the first season, including learning to budget, manage money, volunteering at a shelter, and getting a minimum wage job, which for many of the girls was their first job ever. The most memorable episode from season 2 is episode 3. The episode starts off with a showdown between Jen and Nadia, where Jen bans Nadia from drinking the box wine because she won't replenish any of the cigarettes she's borrowed from the girls in the house. Not one to be stopped from having a cheap glass of wine, Nadia gets some anyway and ends up wearing most of it thanks to Jen.
She's probably poured herself a glass.
The wine is not for Nadia, and if she is not gonna listen, I'm gonna have to make a statement. And now, she will never forget.
For that week's challenge, the girls work at a fast food restaurant called Archibald's, which is probably really just a Hardee's. 2 of the girls get chosen to do marketing for the company, which is them standing outside in stinky hot dog costumes. It's very reminiscent of the Sonic episode from The Simple Life.
Hi, what's up? Welcome to Sonic.
Give me a medium Mountain Dew and a medium Coke.
Okay.
What's up?
What's up? You're hot.
I know that.
Okay, it's 2:37. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks, bitch. Have a great day. This is fun.
Some of the girls struggle to do even basic things like wash their hands before starting. They're almost all comically incompetent with the job, as if this is literally the first time they've been asked to do anything ever.
Hamburger, no cheese?
Right.
Okay.
Cold mustard.
And no mustard. Wait. The slow computer. It's not working. Okay. I'm trying to hold the cheese for you. I want to make sure I didn't put the cheese in it, but it's giving me a cheeseburger still. Okay, wait, let's go through this thing. Wait, cheeseburger, no cheese.
And no mustard.
And no mustard. I'm trying to hold mustard. I'm not. No cheese and no mustard.
Clearly, their years of shopping and expensive vacations have not taught them how to multitask. One of the girls, Hannah, appears to be less hopeless than the others and gets promoted to shift manager like 10 minutes into her shift. She's then in charge of training Jen, who's not having it, just for the drama, and is also in charge of evaluating all the other girls' performances. Hannah then gets high off the fumes of power and french fry grease and manages to cause problems with almost all of the girls because of her power trip. At the end of their shift, Hannah gets to decide if the girls get their full paycheck or if their pay will be docked. Hannah attempts to not pay Nadia at all because she refused to wear her hot dog costume, but eventually decides that she's the only girl whose paycheck will be docked.
So it is going to be your determination, Hannah, if they're getting docked or if they get their full paycheck.
Okay.
So what is it going to be?
Nadia's not going to get a paycheck.
You don't want to pay her at all?
No.
That's not an option. It's just a matter of getting docked or not.
Okay, yeah, that's fine then. Then she's getting docked for sure.
After a full day of minimum wage work, the girls get to take home their earnings, a whopping $32. Later that night, Jen decides there's no point in changing for the better and makes a dramatic exit from the show, not before giving life coach Laura the bird for a record amount of time.
If you want to flick me off, do it from your house.
She then leaves or is removed from the show. The rest of the girls eventually managed to meet the requirements and graduate from the program. Nadia said she was thankful for the program because it made her a better mother and made her more conscious of the money she spent. Apparently, wearing a hot dog costume is not a necessary part of self-improvement. Your Cutoff is a perfect byproduct of the ending era of conspicuous consumption and the more is more mindset that took over the 2000s. Contemporary shows like The Simple Life, My Super Sweet 16, Gossip Girl, and Keeping Up with the Kardashians showed the luxurious lifestyles, fictional and real, of young, beautiful, rich women whose materialism seemingly knew no bounds. After the 2008 recession, it became far less popular to flaunt excessive wealth, especially if you were part of the fortunate group able to weather the economic crisis and come out just fine. The show could reconcile focusing on these girls' wealth by portraying them in a negative light and acting as if their wealth made them inherently bad, out-of-touch people. There's not much discussion about the fact that these girls are so spoiled and incapable, not solely because of their wealth, but also because they were clearly raised and allowed to act this way. But that discussion doesn't make for good TV and hijinks. Let me know in the comments if you've ever seen Your Cutoff or what other forgotten reality TV shows I should talk about. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe.